Hi, my name is Carly, and I'd like to talk to you today about the importance of voting. So I heard this joke that I thought was pretty funny. It says, "What do diapers and politicians have in common? They both need to be changed often and for the same reason." So this joke kind of puts a lighthearted spin on a big issue in our country today. Many people are wondering how they can ever come to trust a politician to represent their values and the things that are important to them and their family. So amongst all this turmoil of so many different conflicting opinions, many ask themselves, how can I know who to vote for, and will my vote even matter? Despite the challenges of so many differing opinions and ideas, our participation in the future of this great country are essential to its preservation. Each person's involvement is necessary for our country to thrive. We all need to be informed citizens and exercise our right to vote. I've been a lifelong lover of the United States of America, and ever since I was a child, my parents have worked to instill in me a love for this great country. I've spent countless hours studying its history and getting actively involved in the political proceedings in my state and in the nation at a national level. In the last presidential election, I found out that only 55% of U.S. citizens that are eligible to vote turned out to vote. I feel like this is an atrocious statistic. How can we expect our country to be great if only half of its citizens care enough to go down the street and vote? I firmly believe that each citizen of the United States of America has a right and a responsibility to be an informed voter on a local and national level. The only way we can make a difference in our country is if we become involved in it. Voting is one of the most powerful tools for change that we have. Let your voice be heard by overcoming those excuses or apprehensions that may be holding each of us back from becoming as involved as we could be. That's the only way that we can really make a difference and a change in our country. It is our responsibility as Americans to vote. Voting is a constitutional right and privilege. Today, all American citizens who are of eligible age can go out and vote, regardless of race or gender. There are a few exceptions to this, such as those who are homeless or some people who live in the District of Columbia, and also felons. But the voting rights that we enjoy today have undergone a lot of reform in the past. Originally, the U.S. Constitution granted the right to vote. However, it left the specifications of who is eligible to vote up to each individual state. So at first, only male property owners were allowed to vote. Since that time, many things have changed in the world of voting. There have been quite a few amendments and acts that have affected the voting rights that we enjoy today. These major changes are largely due to the 15th, the 19th, and the 26th Amendment to the Constitution. The 15th Amendment allows all males the right to vote regardless of race. This amendment prohibits federal and state governments from denying a citizen the right to vote based on the citizen's race, color, or previous conditions of servitude. The 19th Amendment allows all women the right to vote. Activists such as Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Alice Paul, and many others fought for the right for women to vote. Finally, the 26th Amendment lowers the age requirement to vote from 21 to 18. This was largely due to Vietnam War protesters who pointed out that if a person was old enough to fight for their country, then they were old enough to vote for it as well. By not exercising our right to vote, then we are disregarding the sacrifices of millions of people who have fought for us to have this right to vote. Choosing to abstain from voting, I believe, shows a lack of appreciation for those sacrifices. We cannot expect a change in our country if we do not become involved in it ourselves. Many people wonder how they can get involved. One big step is just becoming informed about what's going on. So how can we become informed? There are numerous ways. You can study up on different candidates or issues on the internet. You can watch the debates. You can pay attention to the news, attend rallies, talk to other people about the issues and different candidates. Or you could even write a letter to a candidate or any politician and ask them certain questions that you have. And you would be surprised that many times you'll receive an answer from them or one of their representatives. All of these things, however, take some degree of effort. So it's not going to always be convenient or fit into your schedule. But I know that as we make time to become involved in our country's issues and proceedings, then those things will be for the good of our country. So many people wonder if their vote actually has any power. Sometimes we feel like we won't really make a difference, and so we decide not to participate at all. However, if everyone in the U.S. used this logic, then where would our country be? How would our government function? We need everyone to participate in order for our system of government to be effective. Many people also feel like their vote won't make a difference because of something called the electoral vote or electoral college. The electoral college is an institution where electors are chosen to represent a state, and these electors, the amount of them is chosen based on the population of a state. So, for example, California has a whopping 55 votes. That's the most votes for any state. Texas has 38, Utah has 6, and my home state of Idaho has 4. So, just to name a few. The votes of the electors are based according to the political feelings of the state they represent. Normally, the candidate that wins the electoral vote also wins the popular vote. However, there have been circumstances where the candidate that wins the electoral vote and thus the presidency also doesn't win the popular vote. So this leads to a lot of issues that people have with the electoral college. Many feel like it should be based solely on the popular vote. But I agree with some of these feelings. However, the electoral vote really does represent the sentiments and the political feelings of that state. So any effort that you put in to become involved in the political events in your state and the votes that you cast really will make a difference. In our country, we are all so blessed to have a voice. Voting allows my values to be represented. So many countries don't have this right and this opportunity, so it's one that we really should appreciate. By voting, we have the opportunity to find someone who represents our values and take an active role in protecting ourselves and our families. Gandhi once said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." Voting is an opportunity to be the change. Voting is also an act of expression. It not only helps our country, but it also helps us. Voting increases our national pride. Voting rallies people together for the cause of their country. While politics seem oftentimes to drive people apart, and it can be messy and dirty with mudslinging and backbiting, but it also has the power to bring millions of people together in a united cause. And that cause really is our country. The political energy that erupts in our country does create sparks inside of us that drive us to help others, help our fellow men, and think outside of ourselves. It gives us motivation to make changes in our country to better it. If we all take the time to be an informed voter, then a deeper love and appreciation for this great country will grow in our hearts. Voting will also help us increase our gratitude for those who came before us and paved the way for us to enjoy so many freedoms. Every American citizen has the responsibility to be an informed voter. President Franklin D. Roosevelt once said, "Nobody will ever deprive the American people of their right to vote, except the American people themselves. The only way they can do this is by not voting." I hope none of us would ever choose to deprive ourselves of our sacred rights. As you involve yourself in the service of your country, you will find a greater sense of purpose, belonging, and a love for the United States of America and its people. So get out there and vote. Thank you for your time, and have a wonderful night.